I was talking to a doctor, a client of mine this morning, and he was talking to me about the opportunities that he is being given just because he is a YouTube doctor. He's got over 100,000 subscribers. His name is Dr. Doug. You may have seen him, probably not, because usually he speaks to women who are in their 50s plus who have osteoporosis problems. So I don't know if that's quite my demographic, but I don't know. You tell me. Ladies, are you out there? Are you watching this? So Dr. Doug was telling me some opportunities he's getting because he's built a personal brand on YouTube. In fact, he has built such a successful personal brand with a small, relatively small following, considering like Dr. Mike, who's got millions. Dr. Doug's got over 100,000 subscribers, and yet doors are opening to him left and right. So this video is about how to build a personal brand that will get people knocking on your doors with opportunity, just like Dr. Doug, just like me. And I'm going to break it all down for you. So if you're over 40, and you're like, hey, what do I do? How do I get out of being stuck at my 9 to 5? I'm tired. I want something new. I want to build a personal brand. I hear what you're saying, Scott. Artificial intelligence is coming, and I have to figure out a way to stand out from the crowd. And you guys, let me just make this point real fast, and then I'm going to get into this training. The point that I want to make is with artificial intelligence, the reason that it's going to be so important for you to have a personal brand, have a voice, is because people need to trust other people. If you go online and all of a sudden everything is artificial intelligence videos, everything is artificial intelligence posts, who are you going to trust? You're going to trust the people who are most believable. And it's going to be really difficult for someone to just jump into the mix and all of a sudden become a trustworthy member of a brand. So corporations, and we're even seeing this on like TikTok, corporations are hiring influencers to do what's called UGC content, user-generated content, because they know that influencers are trustworthy. They've built trust. They know how to speak clearly on camera. They know how to build audiences. They know how to build community. And if you're a company owner and you're like, well, we kind of suck at making video. We make corporate videos, but this person over here is getting millions and millions of views. We're going to hire them to do our stuff. And that's exactly what's happening with Dr. Doug. So, also before I get into training, let me just tell you my background just a little bit so you understand. And if you're brand new here, this is going to be important for you anyway. First and foremost, I raw dog it on this channel. No edits. No edits. Can you handle it? Are you part of the 100% club? If you're in the 100% club, leave it down in the comments. You're just like, I don't miss a second of this. I love it so much. Raw dog it. Oh man, that's terrible. Okay, so here's my experience. My wife and I wrote a couple of books in 2010 and 2011. We self-published them. One of them we made an Amazon bestseller so that we could have Amazon bestseller status. You want to know what we did? We bought a whole bunch of our own books. We hired a guy, first of all, paid him $5,000 to tell us this. We bought a whole bunch of our own books in 1 hour, and we got bestseller status. Now, we rode that wave. I always felt really icky about it because I was like, we paid for our own books and we only bought like 30. Anybody who buys your own book, 30, if you buy your 30 copies of your book on Amazon, you're going to make it into the bestseller category of one of the subcategories. So anyway, we wrote these books, published them, and they never made us any money. I mean, it's still to this day. I've got 400 books under this bed right here of our children's book. I don't have one I'd show it to you. Our children's book, I've got 400 copies of our children's book under this bed. We barely, I don't even know if we've broken even. That's how awesome book sales are. Where am I going with this? Oh yeah. And so I went back to work. Geez, Scott, get it out. I went back to work, and I was a retainer maker, orthodontic tech. I made retainers for kids getting out of braces. That was my full-time job, while I was touting myself as a public speaker, a motivational speaker on these books that we wrote. In fact, it was very little business came from that. So I went back to work. I got this job, and I was a nobody. And that's fine. Everybody starts somewhere. I was a nobody. I just had ambitions. I had goals. I had aspirations. And then I started a YouTube channel in 2014. So 2010, 2011, and then over the course of 3 years, I started we tried to build that speaking business. It didn't do anything. It's very hard to market ourselves, very hard to sell books. Didn't sell any courses, didn't know how to sell courses. So I just worked. And then I had the idea to build a YouTube channel in 2014. And it wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy. We got 1,000 subscribers after, 6 months or 7 months or whatever. But to get from 1,000 to 100,000, that was a challenge. That took 2 years. But here's what happens. Here's what happens. When you get this, when you get a play button, doors start opening and people start asking you questions. Really, it happens about 50,000 subscribers. Once you start getting momentum, once you get something that goes viral, people start sending you messages. How are you doing this? In the beginning, they kind of make fun of you. And then as you're growing, it becomes magnetic. They're attracted to the success. And I mean, it never fails. Like, how many times have you seen this from your friends? How many of you guys are the ones who are like criticizing them in the beginning and then they become successful and you're like, dang it, should have listened. Or, hey, dude, tell me, what are you doing? So that's what happens when you start to get some momentum. And then in 2019, so from 2014 to 2019, we had created content full time from 2017 to 2019. And then in 2019, when the algorithm shifted on us, I fell into an opportunity where I was able to essentially take over a conference of Video Marketing World. And because I had built a channel with 350,000 subscribers, the previous owner was like, yeah, man, let's partner on this. I'm going to give you 60% of this company. You just need to come in and run it. And I was like, sweet, let's do this. Door was open from a connection that I made as a YouTuber, and he knew my success, knew my clout as a YouTuber. And so he welcomed that into the company because it was good for the brand. Well, we knocked it out of the park the first year in Video Marketing World. And guess what happened? That opened doors. Success opened doors. And then I had people who are like, hey, teach me. Will you work with me in our company? Will you help teach me how to do YouTube? And I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then our agency was born. Raffiti Media was born in 2019 because of the opportunity that I had built while I was creating YouTube content, while I was a retainer maker. So for you guys at home who are like, yeah, I can never do that. I don't have the time. I can't do it. You do. You absolutely have the time. You're just too lazy to want to do it. And I know some of you guys are going to beat me up in the comments for that. And I get it. Like, you have kids. I had kids. You got a full-time job. I had a full-time job. I had a full-time job, not only a full-time job. As an orthodontic lab tech, you don't stop working if there is work. And I kid you not, my busy times in the middle of the summers, like right before school starts, 90-hour work weeks. I still made time to post YouTube videos because it was that important to me. I had a why that was that big. If you want it bad enough, you will find a way. I didn't say that very succinctly. It was like hesitant. If you want it bad enough, you will find a way. I don't know if I like a way. A way. You will find a way. Does that resonate? The trait that all successful people have is they will always pick themselves up. There is no end point that ends with quit. There is no end point that's like, just go back to doing what I was doing, I guess. I'll go back to making retainers. That is not an outcome that was acceptable to me. I would not accept that outcome. So let's talk about how to speed up the process of building a personal brand that opens doors. Oh, and just some of the opportunities. I mean, and again, not patting my own back or tooting my own horn, but here's some of the opportunities they've had. I have worked with some of the top influencers in the world. You know these people in the business space. You could probably guess. Type in some names down below. You'll probably guess. Mark Cuban companies, Russell Brunson, others, you probably guess. Others that have NDAs. You'll probably guess. I've been invited to speak on stages. I've been flown to different events to come and speak and train on my knowledge. I have made millions and millions of dollars doing what I do. And the doors open because of the personal brand that I built. So let's talk about building a personal brand. Thank you, 100% Club. You made it 10 minutes. Let's get into it. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Okay. All right. So here's why I got my notes on my screen. Here is why building a personal brand over 40 is very doable. You have some very special characteristics after 40, and really after like 35. But I would say in your 40s, it really starts to resonate. As soon as I turned 40, well, I got sick as soon as I turned 40, and that's when the switch kind of flipped. Now I stopped thinking about like temporal things, like things that I'm like, I want it now. I want a nice fancy car. And I start thinking about eternal things, like thinking about legacy and thinking about spirituality and thinking about my family. And so that shift makes you so much more authentic isn't the right word. It feels like you care more about important things than not important things. That was a long, pregnant pause. Hopefully it was worth it. You've developed wisdom. And most people, there are some 40-year-olds that have not developed wisdom. But for the most part, you have life experience. You've developed wisdom. And you've learned how to talk to people and how to share your story and how to converse and how to help other people. Right? By the time you're 40, like, especially if you have kids, you have been through it. And that shows in your presence, in your brand, how you show up. Right? You guys who are older, like, you listen to what I'm saying, and you also like listen to the style. Like, when I say like, oh, he raw dogs it, or I raw dog it, and you're kind of like, man, I respect that, and I own it, right? Like, I own it. Like, I don't care. I'm not playing the YouTube game on this channel. Like, I don't care if this video gets 3 views. Like, I impacted 3 people. But actually, that would kind of suck. I don't want it to get 3 views. At least 100. If it gets 100 views, I'm happy. But even if it doesn't, like, I move on and I get to I just make another video tomorrow, because even if it hits 50 people, that's like, if I had 50 people in this room with me, it would smell very funky and it would be very packed and hot, but it would be a lot of people. That's a lot of people. To know you impacted 50 people. Oh man, that's awesome. You have value over 40. You know your value, you know your worth. And you have worked in a career long enough for you to establish yourself and establish your value and really like own that value. And that's pretty awesome. Like, that's valuable. No pun intended. And, oh, here's the best. Ready? You 40-year-olds, you got this. You're not afraid to speak your mind. Man, I feel like if you were in your 30s during COVID, you saw some stuff. And you're just like, you got so worn down after that with the PC police and everything that happened during the Biden administration that you're just like, yeah, man, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm speaking my mind. And you're not afraid to. And you know what? That is awesome. That's awesome. Because what happens when you speak your mind is you might piss some people off, but you're going to find your people. You're going to find your people. You're going to build a community of people who are like you. And guess what? That's where opportunity comes from. People who love you, who love your content. I know there's a bunch of you guys who are leaving comments like every day, and I feel like I know you by name. I feel like I know who you are. And I feel like you probably feel the same way about me. You know who I am. That's pretty dope. All right, so here it is. So it's best over 40 because of those few things. All right, so tactical. Here you go. Ready? Speak your mind. Speak your mind. When you create content anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, obviously YouTube, doy, LinkedIn, speak your mind. Don't be afraid of what other people are going to say. Don't be afraid. You speak your mind, because when you put down an opinion that is unique, and when it's unique and it's value oriented, but it's like a hot take on something, that's rare. Everybody wants to have a personal brand on social media, but everybody's afraid to speak their mind because what are my friends going to think about me? What's my family going to think about me? Wouldn't it be just so much more refreshing if you just were you? You got one freaking life, man. You got one life. Why would you spend it being afraid of what people who are most likely not going to attend your funeral? And even if they do, you're dead. It doesn't matter, right? Like, who cares? Why would you worry about what they think? You take that out of the equation. That is step one. That is the key to success. You take it out of the equation. They're also, people also are afraid to speak their mind because they don't want to alienate the brands that they want to attract. Well, it's like, if you want to attract a brand because you're phony, then, I mean, you got other issues. And if a brand only want to works with you because you're phony, that's not the kind of brand that I want to work with. I want to work with brands who are like, dude, I respect what you say. It's amazing. Okay. Just speak your mind. Add valuable insight. So the big secret to building a personal brand is not to just speak and blah, 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 blah. The big secret is to speak your mind, but say valuable things. Teach people things. Help them get from one place to another. And this is another thing that 20-year-olds don't understand. 20-year-olds are all about me, because their brains aren't even like fully formed until they're like 25, 26. 20-year-olds, though, it's like, how can I benefit from this? Dude, who cares if you benefit from it or not? Is the person that's listening to you, are they benefiting from it? That's all that matters. And when you get to like 40, 50, 60, it's so much easier for you to say things that have a benefit, because we kind of like, we slow down a little bit and we stop caring about what other people think. And then we also stop, I think, for the most part, we stop being competitive with other people. In things that like don't matter, right? It's like, I'm competitive in sports. I love sports. I will play sports and run, and I will want to win. But when it comes to business, I'm not really that competitive. I want to work with people and collaborate with people and have partial ownership in the things that they're doing. And if I can bring my expertise and we can do things together and win together, that's more important to me than trying to be better than someone else. Because again, at the end of the day, at the end of my life, what do I care if 18 billion people, that's a lot of people, 18 million people are like, Scott was amazing. Dude, I'll be dead. Who cares? I don't care about that. I care about, truly, I care. I want to be able to look from heaven and be like, dang it, that was my ripple effect. That was, look at that, like that thing that I taught that person, they incorporated in their life and they did that with it. That's amazing. But I don't care if I get the credit for that. That like doesn't matter to me at all. That's why building a personal brand in your 40s is so important, because we start thinking that way. All right. So speak your mind, add valuable insight. This next one is very important, and it's kind of like underestimated how important it is. Have a memorable brand name or visual identity. Have a memorable brand name or visual identity. So when I'm talking about brand, I'm like a memorable, unique style, like a way of speaking. Like there are a lot of people who look like Gary Vaynerchuk out there. Well, probably not. I mean, he's pretty unique looking, but it's not his look that was attractive to so many people. It was the stuff he was saying. That's his brand. So, and it's very memorable. He said things in like sound bites that are very unique, and people are like, that's awesome. I want to listen to this guy. Name. What name are you using? Does it flow? And again, like you really only need like one of these things. Gary Vaynerchuk isn't like the easiest name to say. It is kind of memorable after you learn it. But I mean, I remember reading the book Crush It at the beginning, for the first time. It's like Gary the guy, Gary Vayner, That was going to come out bad. Gary Boehner mucky. But if you have, like Mark Cuban, like that's a name that's unique. That's for him. Brad Pitt, unique name. Tom Cruise. This is why all of these actors and actresses changed their names, is so that way it's unique and memorable and it rolls off the tongue. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. And then visual identity. So memorable brand name or visual identity, right? You could draw an outline of Hormozi and you're going to know that it's Hormozi. I mean, this is what that lawsuit was about. Did you guys see that lawsuit that he was in? I don't want to digress too much, but look up, if you haven't, look up hostage tape versus Hormozi. It's good. It's good. Very interesting. He did not win. All right. And then here's like a little piece of advice. I wrote this down. I was like, oh, that sounds good. Say the intelligent things. Say the most intelligent things that are on your mind that will get you in trouble at work. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Say the most intelligent things that are on your mind that will get you in trouble at work. Those are the things everybody's thinking. Everybody's thinking that stuff. And if you're the one who's saying it, then everybody's going to be like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Do not fear the opinions of others. They're irrelevant. Again, most important thing, going back to kind of the beginning here, is you can't let the opinions of others impact you negatively. You're going to have haters like you do. I mean, I still get, rude comments on my stuff. Like, and every once in a while I'm like, I want to engage in it. Sometimes I'll just try to have conversations, but for the most part, I'm just like, man, if you say something negative, you like don't believe in what I'm doing, you're wasting your breath because it's not going to stop me. I don't know what your ambition is in writing that comment, just so that way, just that I know that you disagree with me. Like that does not benefit either of us, my friend. Just go find somebody that you enjoy and watch their stuff and comment good stuff. Like that would be far more beneficial for you. But I don't engage because I don't care. Your negative comments are irrelevant to me. And I don't mean that as disrespectful. I mean it as like that legitimately, like they're irrelevant. I'm trying to find the people that I want to be around. I'm trying to find the people who like what I'm saying. And you're not one of them. A does not equal A, right? You're a B. So if you come with B problems, you're not an A type of person. A does not equal A. That was profound. A does not equal A. All right, all of this stuff combined will make you magnetic. And when you become magnetic, that's when opportunities start flowing into your life. That's when you start getting introduced to interesting people. That's when you start getting interesting, I just said it, opportunities. You get the opportunities, you get it. That's how you build a personal brand, my friends. So if you're 40 plus, get after it. This is how you're going to turn this into millions of dollars in success. Build the personal brand. Build the personal brand. You got this. All right. Catch you on the next one. Oh, by the way, click down in links in the description if you want to work with me, or if you want to see any of this fun stuff that we're doing. All right. Later. Bye.